Hello, welcome to AM Reviews. I'm Angelina Maria, and on tonight's docket, which we will be talking Sistas episodes 10, 1 through 3, The Miss Pat season 5, One Battle After the Another, and Mike Epps Delusional. Anywho, first up on the program, we have Sistas season 10, episode 1 through 3, which the first is called Next of Kin, Guilty is the second, and With or Without You. Um, First off, in season 10, it pretty much takes place after, Sabrina has a car accident. Karen and Aaron and baby Faith have gone on to Seattle, Washington, and then we see that Andy's car got blown up. Of course, when it comes back into play, we find out that Andy's car got blown up, but she herself did not. I guess she got blown away and knocked away, but not blown up, thank God. Because it takes place all at the cookout at Zach and Fatima's house. And of course, after that, they all have dinner, well, eat and have conversations. And then everybody's trying to reach Sabrina. They can't reach Sabrina. Then they get to the point where they start looking for Sabrina. Danny is trying to talk to Tony. Tony, like, girl, I don't really want to talk to you. But he does kind of amuse her and talk to her, humors her and talk to her. Um, what's that baby name? Maurice and Dylan, they get to run around looking for Sabrina. And of course they end up running into Officer Green at the hospital. And he's like, what did he say? He was like, because he ended up like handling the case or whatever, or accident or whatever. And he's like, Danny will tell me later. And Maurice looking like, you and Danny like that? Because last time I checked, I mean, I know y'all had your little thing, but last time I checked, you had a whole man. So, okay. If you and Danny like that, then all right, boo. So then there's that. And everybody gets to looking for Sabrina and stuff like that. And then Andy has, she think, oh, I'm just gonna have to deal with my mama. And when she come home, she sees stuff out of place, stuff not right. What the heck going on here? And we end up being introduced to her little sister, Cheyenne, who is 10 years younger than her. Um, and then we also end up meeting Maddie, who comes into within these episodes. We end up meeting Maddie, who's trying to take over the gym, the same gym that Zach wishes to own at this point in time. So of course, by episode 1, everybody kind of finds out that, Sabrina's been in a bad accident, because how they found out is because Paige needed the keys to the safe, which is how Sabrina ended up in a car accident. Was Sabrina was on her way to the cookout. Paige texted her, called her, and was like, "Hey, I need the keys to the safe. I forgot my keys. All right, I'm on my way. Let me go open up the safe so you can go and do what you got to do, whatever." So she goes to turn around, car accident, boom. Now she's in a coma. She ends up in a coma, and now everybody's like, in the hospital waiting for her, which I'm not gonna hold you. Um, I'm happy to kind of see now her being in a coma. Let me preference that. But when it comes to Danny's character, she don't get a lot of protection. She don't get a lot of people being on her side. Even though technically Danny was in the wrong in regards to Tony, I do like to see that Zach was like, "Hey, yo, bro, like her best friend is like suffering from a coma. Whatever y'all got going on, that's table that for 5 minutes, bro, or leave." And then he like, "But you don't know." Andy like, "Yeah, but you being an ass, so it don't matter." And then you got Fatima like, "Yeah, Zach, calm down, but like Tony, this ain't the place for that. Like whatever y'all got, like, cause she knew, like, they knew, but it's like this ain't the time for that. Like, if you're gonna be here to be supportive, be supportive. If not, leave. And I did kind of understand why Tony was upset, because Officer Green is like texting Danny, calling Danny. So mind you, you trying to support her, you got your arm around her trying to console her, and the dude that she cheated on you with, who you just had to beat up this morning, or yesterday morning technically, um, or the same morning, whatever, is texting her and calling her, and he feels so comfortable to do so, and then talk about your position or lack thereof or what have you. So I do understand why Tony was like in his feelings. I mean, it's kind of like rightfully so. So, then everybody's like, you know what, they go their own ways. Andy ends up talking to not officer, Dr. Vaughn, and kind of getting to the story, getting to everything, getting to the bottom of everything. Like, yeah, I did kind of help him in one regard, but you got to understand my positioning. It's like this dude is over me, because I think Dr. Vaughn is more like a resident. He's not a doctor. While I do think that what's his name? Dr. Cruz is, I want to say, like a chief doctor or something like that. So it's like this is why he's he's doing what he doing and moving the way he moving. Which is kind of like understandably so. Like I see why he kind of doing what he doing. The boy still gotta eat, even though he don't think what he doing is right. That's why he go behind him and help women of color, especially black women and stuff like that. So she gets some kind of like bottom of that. They end up having that like conversation and stuff like that. And she also has to deal with Cheyenne as well. And the mama is like, this your sister. Like you so worried about your other sisters. They ain't even your blood. Like this your blood. And Andy's like, yeah, but you done decided this girl gonna live with me and ain't said nothing to me. You done been here a couple days and didn't even open your mouth and say, hey, baby, how do you feel about Cheyenne living here? She needs a fresh start, da 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 da. Like, you didn't tell her nothing. You just told her your sister's gonna live with you and you're gonna be happy about it. That ain't how you do that though, ma. But that's a black mama for you, so I don't know what to say. Too tough. That's just how black mamas move. So anywho, she has to deal with that. Danny, of course, is dealing with Tony not wanting to deal with her and stuff like that. So, and then what's that baby name? Rich. He ends up talking to Tony and being like, I know Danny did what she did, and I know she wrong, but you gotta understand, like, you love her past all that. Like, I even tell you at the hospital that you still love her, and that's why you so hurt. So, like, if y'all can figure it out, because at least you could talk to her. I can't even talk to Sabrina. And he was like, I kind of did the same thing. He was like, but it's not the same. Y'all weren't officially together. He was like, yeah, y'all was together, but you act like everything was peachy keen. And then he even tried to throw. She didn't even like my kids, bro. Even Rich was like, but your kids are bad though. Like he ain't say that, but he looked like, well, like, bro, your kids ain't easy to like. I love them. They my niece and nephew, but I even told you they stole the girl necklace off her neck. Like, you just don't want to listen. So anywho, and then you got Zach and Fatima. They're having a conversation. They, you know, and he like need to protect them. Like, hey, you need to go be with your mom, be with your daddy. She's like, no, I ain't going nowhere. This is my house. And he like, nah, but I need you to leave because I can't have nothing have anything happen to you and that baby. And he's like, she like, ain't nothing gonna happen to me. I ain't worried about it. And he was like, your family already barely freaking like me, bro. They barely like me. So if something were to happen to you and that baby, I'm nah, bruh, nah. So there's that. But last but not least on the episodes, we get to episode 3, which everybody, you got Maurice checking in on Sabrina, you got them trying to figure out what they're gonna do with her and stuff like that, and even Zach trying to get the juice bar, not the juice bar, baby, the gym that's around the corner from the juice bar, and things like that, and not really going his way because another lady, this is how we really meet Madison. She ends up Madison Truitt, she ends up wanting she ends up like getting in and wanting and stuff like that. And we kind of deal with like Pam trying to do what she can in the salon. So Danny after a while decides to leave, and trigger warning, trigger warning, trigger warning, which I kind of knew this was gonna happen, but whatever. So she ends up going to the grocery store, and she ends up seeing Officer Green. And when Danny sees Officer Green, she's like, "What you doing here?" Because he taps her. She puts her groceries in the trunk, and he ends up trunk of her car, and he ends up tapping her. She like turn around, startled him, like, "What you doing here?" Which I knew then when I saw him at the grocery store. I said, "He finna stalk her. This finna be an issue. He's finna stalk her." And sure enough, he like, oh, she's like, grocery store, you grocery shopping, like that's normal. And then he like still try to talk to her, da da da, be on that type of time with her. She like, I told you this is a mistake. I love my dude. Like, I we did, it was what it was, but I don't even want to lead you on. Like it's a no for me, dog. I don't even have the time. Like, and then she tells him about Sabrina, like my one homegirl just left, the other homegirl in the coma, and the one that left, we ain't even told her yet because we don't want to tell her, and then everything go right. But then we don't want to tell her, and it's too late, and then stuff go wrong. Like we don't even know what to do. Like I got a lot going on. Then this situation, with my man, I really want my man back, and so no, it's just I got a lot going on, bro. I really can't with you right now. You can't be in nothing I have going on. So, anywho, he like, yeah, I get it. He ain't get it. I knew one nothing in that goddamn bag. He balled it up, threw it away when she drove out. Cool. So fast forward a couple hours, you see Danny, you see Cheyenne starting to deal. You kind of see what Cheyenne had going on. Cheyenne, I think she got like an abusive boyfriend back home. That's what I really think, and because I think Andy from Tennessee, so I think she got a little bad boyfriend back home. That's what I really think. But I think she just don't know how to deal with it. She ended up in like didn't she get caught up with some? I think she ended up like getting caught up. She went out her first night out. Girl ended up doing some drugs, getting high, getting drunk, having sex in the pool, just all types of craziness. So, um, you end up seeing her like her and Andy had to get out of jail, and she knew her rights, so she's really smart and creative. She's cute too. It's just that like I think she wanted Andy to be her big sister, and I think she didn't have that. Plus, they brought up, she said, I think she said Melvin was his name. You know, it was different after so and so left, and Andy was like, I don't want to talk about that. So it makes me think like, and the mom ended up asking like, did something happen between you two that I don't know about? You know, that you're not telling me. And they're like, we're not gonna talk about it. So I don't know. So I'm really interested on where this Cheyenne and Andy relationship gonna go. And then of course, you know, you got Fatima being lawyer Bay and stuff like that and doing her thing. Um, but anywho, but towards the end of episode 3, you see Danny, she's because what happened was Danny like spilled some stuff on herself. She's going to the bathroom. Why she just in her tub in her clothes? I don't know. Ain't my business. But she's in her tub vaping, and she ended up getting a knock on the door. And because she is the what is it called? She's the executor over Fatima's not Fatima baby, over Sabrina's body. I know that's not the correct words technically, but like she has like the say. She has say over what happens to Sabrina because she was ruled as next to kin. So she gets a knock and she like, who is it? Who is it? Because she wondering like, did somebody else get a call? Just like what happened before, and they just decide to come tell her in person or what's up. So it ended up being Officer Green. So she opened the door like, what are you doing here and why are you here? And he's like, I just wanted to talk to you. She was like, we did talk at the grocery store and I told you what it was at the grocery store. So what you talking about? And he ended up, trying to talk to her more. She's like, you know what, dude, I can't do this. And he's like, I don't want to talk from outside. She's like, great, because I don't want to talk at all. And she tries to close the door, and he wasn't having that. And he pushes the door open, walks in her house. She's like, what's wrong with you? Is you cool? And he ended up, like, it's crazy how I take two people to start and one people to finish it. And it's like, what the heck are you talking about, dude? Like, what are you even saying? And he ends up pretty much trying to force his way on Danny. Um, if you've seen the episode, and if you haven't, I just say watch it. Like I said, trigger one and trigger one, and he pretty much forces himself on Danny. Um, he did not rape her, but he did technically sexually assault her and physically assault her. So that did definitely take place. But yeah, so he ended up forcing himself on her. She ended up fighting her way out of it and getting free and away from him. And then when she says, if you don't leave, I'm gonna call the police. Well, she tried to. She said, if you don't leave, I'm gonna. He said, what? Call the police? I am the police. So it just kind of was like, you see Danny kind of like, oh my God, I ain't got no options. Like if he do whatever he do to me, like I'm screwed. Cause what can like, and he right, like he is a sergeant, so he's higher up. So I'm gonna kind of see where this goes and things like that. It ended off kind of on some, if you need help, no, I'm gonna stop. But no, and it's kind of crazy because Danny was here, but she was worse before. So we're just gonna see where this goes. But next up on the program, we have the Miss Pat Show season 5, which I'm not gonna hold you. The whole entire season, which Sisters can be found on BET, or if you wait like a year, it'll be on BET Plus. But you can find it on BET and stuff like that. Like, if you haven't watched it, like if you have like cable or like Philo, YouTube TV, Hulu TV, anything like that, you can watch it on demand. And you just have to deal with like an ad or two, I think, in the beginning and the end, but you can watch it on demand. If you haven't seen it already. But anywho, back to Miss Pat Show season 5, which can be found on BET Plus the entire season. Because actually the way they rolled it out because they switched it, so it actually just finished I think like a month ago. Because we in March now. I think it finished like top of February, mid February. It ended like a month ago. Anywho, I'm gonna say this. So in this season, we pretty much learned like when last season ended, we found out that what's his name? Lloyd, Miss Pat baby daddy, he has died. Janelle had just graduated, got in the Hansberry. What else happened last season? Um, I think I want to say, was he making leeway? She was trying to get him to spit in a little tube to find out who his daddy was. But I think the mama had gave him the phone number, and she had made a lead for the daddy. I was gonna say I knew somebody made a leeway for the daddy, for Terry's daddy. So we kind of pick up on all those things. Um, the first episode is, of course, they end up having no. Actually, the first episode. If you went to Miss Pat's crack baby party, you actually saw the first episode back in October. You actually saw it like 3 months before it came out. Anywho, I can say that now because the whole season out. Anywho, um, the first episode, Miss Pat is trying to be. No, actually, the first episode actually takes place a couple months later. Where what's her baby name? Brandon had moved out of Miss Pat's basement because he felt like they all laughed at him. He felt like they didn't have his back when he was trying to give his daddy a kidney. And it wasn't that they didn't have his back. It was just like, you finna risk your life for a man that wouldn't even buy you shoes? That's okay. Don't understand it, but okay. That's what you want to do. So anywho, they end up it starts there and him I can't think of nobody's name. This is horrible. Denise is supposed to be doing Ashley's hair, so she comes by to get her hair done, and then Junebug tells Brandon he could pick up the last of his things that he had forgotten in his rush to move out to bring in to move in with his woman, and they end up running into each other. They end up getting into it real bad. He ended up calling her the B word. Well, Brandon calling Ashley a bitch and all that. And Miss Pat is like trying to break it up between them two. And she ended up breaking it up to the point and yelling to the point where she actually ends up fainting. I don't think she had like a heart attack or a stroke or nothing, but she did end up fainting. And when she ended up passing out from like I guess the exhaustion or what have you, because she also was working and she did like the film and she was trying to be on tour, trying to get her comedy game really, really up. Um End up passing out. So she goes to the hospital and then they like, you need to chill out. So she like, yeah, but I'm trying to be a Giggle girl. And she had quite a few guest stars this season. And in this episode, we have Raven Simone, who also I think directed the episode. She's directed for Miss Pat before in season 4, and I think she directed a few episodes this season. And I think she happened to direct. No, I don't think she directed. I think she was in this episode and then directed 2 other ones. So anywho, um, so she's trying to be a good girl and impress. Um, I was gonna say that's on Raven. Impress Raven Simone. She ended up trying to impress Raven Simone, and she wasn't supposed to leave, and she didn't listen. And Jewbug tries to play her, and it's really really funny. In the next one, of course, the daddy done died. They done cremated him, which is called Wild Goose Chase. They done cremated the daddy. So at this point, just before Janelle goes to school, because in the first episode, the daddy takes her shopping. The second one, they decide to do a garage sale. One to make a little bit of money, and then 2 to get rid of some stuff, right? So they decide to do that. In the midst of the garage sale, they end up getting, which at this time, Eris Harris is the guest star, which Eris Harris is the child of Clifford T.I. Harris and Tamika Tiny Collette Harris. Kettle Harris. I'm messing that last name up. Harris. But Tiny and T.I. is her mama and daddy. So anywho, so she's in there and they're like having a garage sale and Junebug pretty much bets Janelle that, because she's so like black and civil rights. But mind you, they in Plainfield, Indiana. That don't play over there. That just don't fly over there. So he's like, what I'm gonna do is he was like, if you can sell one thing, I'll buy everything else. So she said, okay, cool, bet. So a little girl, which is Eris Harris' character, she wants to buy a tape, Lion King tape. Well, Miss Pat finds out about it and was like, that ain't the Lion King. He's king, but more like King Kong, okay? Like it ain't that. More like King Dingaling is on that goddamn tape, but not like you want to call him that, fine. So at this point in time, they trying to get the tape back from the little girl. Then you got the daddy, Brandon. They get the ashes from Lloyd to Brandon, and and Ashley accidentally back boxed up the ashes and ended up giving them away. So you got them trying to find him or whatever. Trying to get him. So everybody trying to get stuff back. So you got Brandon and Ashley trying to get back Lloyd's ashes. You got Miss Pat and Terry trying to get to take back from the little girl. And then with the help of Denise, because Denise trying to seduce the daddy. And then um you got Janelle trying to sell her stuff so she can win a bet with uh Junebug, who's sad about her leaving. So anywho, of course, everybody thought they got what they wanted until. And Elizabeth makes an appearance. She does. She comes back and makes an appearance and she sees the real. Moving on. The next episode actually is called License and Registration, which this one pretty much takes place because Junebug asked Miss Pat in the previous episode, can he get her keys? And she said, hell no. In true Miss Pat fashion, she says no. So he takes him anyway. So he takes him anyway because they had to now, after this point in time, take Janelle to school. So they ride in Terry car and they take her that way. So Miss Pat car is doing whatever. So you got Denise who's now with uh Kareem. So you got him all in the bedroom, whatever. So he ends up taking the car, he crashes it. So when he crashes the car, now Denise and Brandon who's also in this episode is I was gonna say Tashina Arnold, Tisha Campbell. Tisha Campbell, she plays the police officer or detective or whatever. That is Brandon's girlfriend who he had been living with. And they tried to get her to like scare him and teach him a lesson because he ended up crashing into like Elizabeth house because his homeboy is at Elizabeth house, which is Ryan. So he ended up crashing to a tree and stuff like that and all types of stuff. So she bring him home and they try to teach him a lesson. At the same time, you got Miss Pat and Terry taking Janelle to college to Hansberry, and they didn't play with her schedule, and she was trying to get a class, and she did end up getting a class because she ended up meeting the professor. So there's that. Next up, you have give it a rest. This is like kind of the aftermath of Junebug crashing a car, where Miss Pat pretty much have him arrested, and she has to deal with her past self and her mama and Judge Sophia and things like that. So she kind of has to deal with herself because did she pass out again? No. Yes. No, she didn't pass out again, but she had to go to the hospital. I think she might have passed out again because she had to go to the hospital. And when she went to the hospital, I think she had gallstones and they had to take them out. So she had surgery. And the younger her, which is Rabbit. Younger her is always Rabbit. And Rabbit tells Miss Pat, like, why aren't you taking care of us? And she was like, I am taking care of us. And she was looking like, then why are we on the table? Why is this surgery happening if you taking care of us so well? So, so that happens and she has to like deal with that and, deal with her younger self. And even like she was like, we said we'll never put our kids in the cell. Why you put that baby in a box? Why you do that to him? Because you don't want to deal with him, deal with your own situation. So it makes her get him out and stuff like that. And she felt really, really bad. And he did end up on house arrest because he ended up drunk driving. Next up, we have Chili Chili Bang Bang. So Chili Chili Bang Bang pretty much talks about Terry's old friend, which I can't think of his name right now. But Terry has a friend from his army days, and dude had like I think he had a book or something, but he had kind of rose to fame for something. And Denise didn't like him. Which if you pay attention to when Denise don't like a man on the show, he's a predator. There's no man that Denise hasn't liked that wasn't a predator. If Denise do not like you, that is concerning because Denise was trying to marry a man that killed his wife, or at least tried to kill his wife, and she was finna be with him. So if Denise do not like you and you are a man, you are very problematic, and I mean severely. And she didn't like Terry's friend for nothing in the world, and it was like, why don't you like him? And just like, man, I can't stand him. And come to find out, he had a couple of. He asked Terry like, "Would you have my back?" Women, because I got money, they're trying to say I essayed them. They're trying to say I sexually assaulted them. They're trying to say I raped them, did stuff to them. So he was like, one of the women from their platoon or whatever, from their whatever. Yeah, I guess you could say platoon rank, whatever the heck it's called. From his camp, pretty much. Let me say that, from his camp. He was like, "Yeah, she was real cool with us until you, and then she just stopped rocking with us. What happened with that?" And he was like, "Yeah, I don't know. I told her, she couldn't handle it because I moved on." He was like, "Yeah, but that ain't the type of person that she was." So come to find out, he was raping women and sexually assaulting women and just doing what he wanted to do. And he had fame, and because he had fame and money, not know where to find you. So they was like suing and stuff like that and putting out these allegations. And he didn't like that. He was like, "So what you trying to say?" And Miss Pat was like, "Yeah, I'm a woman that been through that. I don't trust it." And so did Denise. And he said something that was very insensitive, which I ain't gonna lie, I love this episode. Um he said, hold on, is this wrong? No, no, this is right. This is right. So maybe am I wrong? Hell to the chef. So what's chili chili bang bang? No, because they did the chili bake off. So I'm wrong. I might be wrong with Hell to the Chef. Anywho, so he ended up pretty much being like, "I didn't do that. They lying on me. This, that, and the third." So when he ended up being like, they lying on him or whatever, Miss Pat was like, "But you out here raping bitches? Because you know how Miss Pat is, yo. Ain't no cool love her so much." And he was like, "It's not called rape, it's called SA." And that's what Brandon said. And she was like, "I've been raped. It's called rape. I'm not finna sugarcoat no words." So, anywho, dude was like, "I'm sorry that Denise don't know how to find a good man. I'm sorry this, that, and the third. And I'm sorry your wife let you get raped." Boom. Soon as she say that, he got punched across the face. And then when he got punched across the face, um, that's when he was finna like he was finna fight Terry until his sons jumped up. That's when you see what's that? That's when you see Brandon and you see Junebug. And he was like, "Dang, I can't fight all three of y'all." So then he go to walk out the door and say, "F y'all, I love this." This clip has played a lot on social media. Baby, the whole family. Terry was like, "What? What you say?" Then you see Brandon take his shirt off. Junebug goes to skip to his loo. Let me tell you something. If somebody is skipping to their loo to come whoop you, I feel so sorry for you. Because you only skip with glee. That's literally, when you are skipping, that is a gleeful act. That man skipped with glee to go whoop that man because he said what he said about his mama, which in recent times I realized, don't play with nobody mama, especially the mama come from Atlanta. Them Atlanta boys don't play about their mamas. Word to T.I. Anywho, uh, so yeah, so it skipped to their loo, they beat him up. It was what it was. I ain't gonna lie. Oh, I read this wrong. Okay, so then the next one is Hail to the Chief. This one actually is a dig at which they have been coming for that man the whole season, which I love. Mr. What is that Negro name? The little orange man that caused the destruction and decay. Trump. Yeah, that Negro. Him. So so what happened is, because Terry, he'd be having like raises and stuff like that. Because of his new positioning, they thought that him and his family would be a good representation for General Motors, um, to represent for the president and show, "Hey, we're a good all American family," or whatever. Only difference is Brandon, who was a teacher, has a student by the name of Miguel. Miguel he is legally documented. He's from this country and stuff like that. But I think his parents weren't fully legal, or their paperwork went all the way right, or something of that nature. So anywho, what happened was they ended up taking him in. And then the president was supposed to come, and they was like, "The president can't come here." Like, and we got a little Latino boy here or whatever. So they end up pretty much hiding him out until his aunt come get him, which I really like. And it showed that once again, like as people, we can stand together. And I like that they was like, boy, we don't even want this Negro to walk through the door. And then he was like, "What you want me to do? Hide, like put him out?" Because they was like, we could put him in the basement, which they could have put him in the basement, put him upstairs, which but they was want to hide him out from the president, so that way, because he was legal, but he was a child, and they was like, they don't want him to go to foster care. They want him to at least be with his family, and they was able to contact contact his aunt, excuse me, and was able to get him to safety and things like that. So yeah. The next one is called Nobody's Star, which this one talks about like Miss Pat and her rise to fame and like her not feeling, which some people call today imposter syndrome, like when people don't be feeling fully worthy or feel like, how the heck did I get here? What the heck happened? Or what have you. And like with Miss Pat, it's with her, it's kind of like she was like, I need to be skinnier, because Hollywood will feed you this thing that you need to be a size 2 and a size 0 and a double zero and stuff like that. My thing is, you just need to be talented and creative, and that's exactly what Miss Pat is, and she's dealing with that. But simultaneously, you have Terry who made leeway with his father, and he goes to see his aunt, and his aunt, for those who are back to Raven Simone, if you are a Cheetah Girls fan, remember Drink a Champagne. Remember her? She was like the theater teacher and Cheetah Girls, especially Cheetah Girls 1. So if you are a fan of like Raven Simone and you watch Cheetah Girl 1, that's Drinking Champagne, which actually is a real trans woman by the name of Sandra Caldwell. I did not know that. I thought that was a woman. I mean, it is a woman. She is a woman, but I thought like born and everything. I had no clue. So I was like, oh, where I know her from? And then I saw TikTok and I was like, oh, drink a champagne. Cool. So I was just like happy or whatever. So he goes to the nursing home where she is and Loretta Devine, who I also love. And they're there and they'll have like a talent show. And she's like, I'm gonna be glad that y'all pretty much gonna be the Pips. They didn't sing a Gladys Knight song. I don't think they might have. But anywho, so they sing a song, they play backup for her. Miss Pat is with actually her co-creator, who is Jordan E. Cooper. They this episode she actually wrote with homeboy from the premiere. His name is Vance, Brandon Vance. Oh my gosh, what's that baby name? Vince. His name is Vince. Um, he wrote with her. They wrote, and you see him actually on the premiere. The dude she was talking to, and she was like, he was like, "You funny or whatever." That's Vince, and she wrote with him for this episode. Anywho, and the episode before that, Garyana wrote, which is the one about Ice, which is not shocking because who better to write "I can't stand the president, he racist" than Garyana Peely? Just saying. Anywho, so this is like her coming with her, Miss Pat coming with her body insecurities, and I'm not saying Miss Pat, the human being, is insecure about her body, but Hollywood will make you feel. A lot of people do deal with this, especially if you want to be a creative and you want to be in the industry, you want to be a star, I guess, Um, and she kept saying, I'm nobody's star, I'm nobody's star. And it's like, but you was starring a film. And Jordan E. Cooper's character, who was like the director and all that, he kept calling her big sexy and things like that. And she would say things like, even like in last season, and they talked about her face, he like will do this to her face, like, no, you're beautiful. That's why no one's gonna do this or this to your face if they think you're ugly. So she just wasn't fully seeing it or whatever. And she didn't know that Kareem was there because Denise was trying to mess around with Kareem at the same time, and she didn't know he was there, and they get trapped in the elevator. And she's like not knowing how to deal with her fame. She ended up jumping up in the elevator and like having a fit in the elevator. And he was like, but you got it though. He was like, we supposed to be dead, but we made it, and this, that, and the third, so you should be happy or whatever. And just embracing it, do what you got to do and be who you are. So that he ended up really helping her, and before like the whole drug situation and him taking Denise down through there, they really did have a good relationship. And it's kind of like, go back to remembering that. Remember when we had a really good relationship. So she ended up doing that eventually. So yeah. But last but not least, which ended up being the season 5 finale, which is called A Family Thing. I'm not gonna hold you. If they don't have season 6, I know something wrong. But I can see them with 10 seasons, especially after this episode. So this episode is actually 45 minutes long. It is the longest episode. So if once it airs on TV, on linear, which is gonna be BET, which probably ain't gonna enter probably the summer, probably going into the fall. I'm not gonna hold you. I won't be shocked if this episode is like an hour long. Um, Anywho, so in the family thing, this takes place. The family is all at Miss Pat's house or whatever, and they chilling, and they end up getting a visit from who's everything at the time is his aunt, right? And her friend. So they get to coming or whatever, and they end up having dinner or whatever. So Brandon comes, his girlfriend come, Ashley's there, everybody's there, the whole shebang, everybody's there. Oh, even what's that girl name? Even Janelle is there because she ended up dropping out of school, at least leaving, right? So everybody, the whole family, the whole shebang there. So come to find out, spoiler alert, I'm finna spoil it. So she's like, "What's going on, my father? Where's my father?" Because they had the picture of him with his father, or whatever, as a baby. And the aunt was like, I can't give you your father. I can't introduce you to your father." And he like, "What you mean? What you talking about?" And she was like, "I can't. I'm not your father's sister." He was like, "Well, who the heck are you then?" Miss Pat was like, "Well, who are you and why are you in my house then? If you're not the sister, I'm not. I can't introduce you to your father. I'm not the sister because I am your father." Come to find out, the daddy is trans, and in real life, like I just said a little earlier, it is played by a real trans woman by the name of Sandra Caldwell. Like I said, if you a fan like me, you've known her since you was a kid. You just thought she was a she. I even thought she was a she. I said, "Oh, that's really dope that it was a woman that played the trans." Until I saw that TikTok and was like, I love you even more, Miss Pat. Because I love that she did that. Miss Pat did that work to be like, no, I want a trans person to play a trans person. I want to represent trans people. And Miss Pat is a woman that is heterosexual, not lesbian. She represents lesbian people with her daughter, who really is a lesbian. She represents trans people. As far as I know, there's no trans people in her family, but it don't matter. Trans people exist. She has trans friends because she's friends with T.S. Madison. So I love that she did that because she didn't have to. Miss Pat don't have to. Miss Pat is a heterosexual woman. She ain't got to represent nobody else. And I love that she represent the Mexican people on that ice flight. I like that she represented the lesbian people with her daughter. I like that she represent trans people. She ain't got to do none of that, and she does. And I love that because it shows that she really cares about other people, and she using her platform to show people that people be, for lack of better words, pooping on and like disrespecting and disregarding and forgetting about and try to like act like they don't exist. And I like that she uses her platform to do that. And when I say it was A1 season finale, and then because Loretta Devine was her friend, she was like, "If you want to go, we can go. If you want to whoop ass, we're gonna whoop ass. Like what you want to do, we doing it, you know." And I love that. And in the end, it was like, "Well, are you happy?" And it was like, "Yeah." And it was like, "Well, okay." And at the end, it kind of just came together as a family. And spoiler alert, spoiler alert. I, Janelle might be pregnant. Miss Pat might be a grandma. They definitely getting to season 6. I can't wait. Anywho, next up on the docket, next up on the program is One Battle After Another, which, yes, the film did come out in 2025, but it came out late in 2025, and I did not watch it. I didn't go to the theater to see it. No diss to it. I really want to see it because I love Leonardo. And like I said in the previous episode, I love Tiana Taylor. Oh, I also love Regina Hall while we at it. Uh so I was very, very interested. And I like Sean Penn as well. So I was very interested in it. It's just that when it came out, your girl was busy with school and stuff, so I ain't had time to do that. So I didn't go see it. And then she had won her Golden Globe. Her speech made me cry. And then I was like, go see what this movie talking about. And I did. I watched it and I really, really enjoyed it. So pretty much, Tiana Taylor's only movie about 20 minutes. But anywho, so it follows these people that are like they're part of the revolution, right? And they want to help the Latino people, right? People in like these camps, in these like refugee camps and stuff like that. So they want to help them or what have you. So they decide to help them, and when they decide to help them, she end up attracting like this white dude, which is Sean Penn's character, who's in the military. So when she end up attracting him, he ends up um kind of like being really, really attracted to black women. So while he was attracted to black women, he ended up sexualizing her. She ended up putting a gun in his face, and he was like, "Ooh, baby." So she ended up messing around with him and Leonardo DiCaprio. She ends up having a baby. She also turns on the revolution, snitches on them, and ended up in Witsec. Leonardo ends up with the baby. So now the baby, the daughter now is fighting with her father and don't want that to fall back on her. Well, it still fell back on her. Spoiler alert, spoiler alert. So all this is going on. The daughter's on the run because Sean Penn is looking for her while he's still sexualizing black women. Then Regina Hall end up like helping her and what have you. So when she ends up helping her and telling her the truth about her mama, Sean Penn still ends up kidnapping the girl. So when he ends up kidnapping the girl, he trying to kill Leonardo couldn't. He ends up kidnapping her and he ends up doing a DNA test because she think Leonardo her daddy. Spoiler alert, spoiler alert. He not. She got pregnant by Sean Penn. And she was like, am I beautiful like my mama? He was like, no, this is his daughter. He's so mad. And then it was like, if it's his daughter, he definitely want her dead. It was the most backwards. I, the movie is good. It's a really, really good film. I think it's a really good watch. It's a good roller coaster. Once again, it's back on black people and white people helping other people that's going through and stuff like that. So it's a really, really good film. And like they said, it's one battle after another. It is kind of crazy though. And people talked about the sexualization of white men sexualizing black women. I will say this. Maya Rudolph, who is from SNL, the daughter of Minnie Riperton, her husband is the white man that was behind this. I said, whoever is behind this got to be seriously attracted to black women. I didn't think he was gonna be married to a black woman and have black kids. I didn't think that, but it makes sense. Last but not least, on the program, I had watched the special of Mike Epps, which can be found on Netflix. Oh, One Battle After Another can be found on HBO and Hulu if you have the bundle with that. But anywho, Mike Epps' special is called Delusional. It did actually come out this year, and it is can be found on Netflix. And I'm gonna say this: it was a back to One Battle After Another, so I can rate it. If I had to rate it, I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. It's a pretty good watch. But back to Mike Epps, Delusional. It is on Netflix. Pretty much he just talks about his journey. He does talk about Diddy for a little bit. You can't not talk about Diddy. It was just too big to not talk about it. He talks about it for 5 minutes, but he talks about pretty much his journey. He talks about how he was high in some of his biggest films with Ice Cube, such as All About the Benjamins, Friday After Next. He talked about how he was high as a kite. He talked about how in Soul Man, he said how he worked with Bernie Mac, and that's true. He was like I was in Bernie Mac last film, and I never thought about it like that, and he's correct. And that was Isaac Hayes' last film because they both died shortly after. And he was saying how he was high as a kite and some of the stuff he went through. And it was another thing he did. Oh, he said how he was in Whitney Houston last film. That's also correct because he played Sparkle. He was in Whitney Houston last film. So he was just saying like some of the greats that he worked with and his journey. And he was just saying like you kind of got to be delusional to have this dream, but go for it. He was like, because I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't even understand why the heck I'm here and things like that. So it was a really, really good thing. It was very, very funny, but it was also inspiring. It was almost like if you want to do this, you could do this. Don't let nobody tell you can't do this because I'm telling you, you can. Because if somebody would tell, because he was saying like how he was messing up his life, how he had to like live with somebody for some time and then come back. But it ended up changing his life. So it ended up working out for him. And of course, obviously, because it's Mike Epps now. So it's a really, really good watch. If I had to rate the special, I'm not gonna hold you. I'll probably get it like 8 out of 10. It was also really, really good. Um, so yeah, that's pretty much that on that. um, thank you for being with me. I'm Angelina Maria. This has been Amy Reviews, and on this episode, we covered Sistas season 10, episodes 1 through 3, the season 5 of Miss Pat, one battle after another, and Mike Epps. Once again, I've been Angelina Maria, and this has been AM Reviews. Thank you for sitting with me, and I hope to see you soon. Okay, bye.